Anyway, but like the beauty of what we're going to do today is that we're back. But no, I just need to point out the fact that David, you have pizza. It looks delicious. Andrew, you're kind of not ready to go. Like that's perfect.
Shit, man.
And over here, Jordan,
I'm looking at you guys. And
you're here. Yeah.
Look at you.
And you guys just have no clue what's going on right now. I love it.
Kitchen light makes me very
Let's do it live! Alright, so the intro that we had for YouTube that's playing right now, is going to come back to this. Just a second. All right, and we are actually back. We are here, and we're going to try to do this all together on this new platform, Social Live. But I'm Darius. Anybody want to step up? Jordan, David, Andrew. Anybody? Nobody? Oh, man. So this is off to a great start. Andrew is over here getting set up. Jordan, what's going on with you? David, what's going on with you, man?
I'm just trying to have that smiling face that you usually see pop up on Around the Horn that's just sitting in the box.
Andrew's still setting up. I love this, by the way.
I'm getting annoyed by this fucking energy saver mode. All
right, and there goes Andrew.
PG.
That goes rated PG.
Restart the live. Restart the live.
No, we're rolling with it. We're rolling.
Yeah, we're live.
I can always
always
it out.
It's editable.
It is editable. That is one of the main things about the platform that makes it so easy to work with. But hey guys, we're back. It's the first time we've done Tampa Bay Cop Talk in feels like forever since last time Liverpool were good.
It's been an era.
Yeah. The whole thing happened.
It's been a whole era of Liverpool since we've last done an episode. A whole era has ended since the last time.
Like Taki Minamino and Divock Origi were a thing the last time we did an episode.
We still thought Taki could become a big superstar the last time we recorded this episode. Now he's at Monaco, disappointing
Matt Phillips
everyone.
And Ozan Kabak were the center back pairing to then Reece Williams to get Liverpool to top 4. That was amazing.
You thought things can't get any worse than that season.
They got incredibly better. They got so much better for 1 year.
Yeah, for a year.
It's the swings and roundabouts,
And now it's worse. And that's what we're here to talk about.
No.
Oh gosh, guys, it's always fun when we get together and chat. But we're gonna try to keep this kind of structured. So I've got pre-prepared questions that I'm gonna send to, and if you look over at that little broadcast window, you'll see the question pop up on screen in just a second. Question 1. Do Liverpool actually need to sign Jude Bellingham to improve? So the question being, do Liverpool actually need to sign Jude Bellingham to actually be good? David, we'll start with you. I'm curious what your take on this is.
It's going to be an unpopular take.
Ooh,
but the answer is no. That's a lot of money for one player. It's a lot to pour into one guy and then pin all your hopes to him and then just assume that he's not going to have any hamstring problems like everybody else in the squad, right? That he's not going to rupture a tendon or blow out a ligament, right? So you spend $150 million on this one kid and then he blows out his ACL next year or has an ox-type injury. Never the same. Now, I think there's multiple ways to go about it, right? I'm all for signing Jude Bellingham, getting the superstar, putting the chips down on somebody, and then building around them. Yeah, I'm dead into that. However, if it doesn't happen, there's an argument to be made that you can take the money, go out and sign all your midfielders that you need to buy for the money that you would spend on that one player, and then still have money to buy a center back, which you also need, possibly a right back, which you may also need, depending on what happens with players up top. I don't know. We may see some surprise departures. If that is the case, you got to take the funds from that plus anything else that you got left over to replace them. So there's a lot of moving parts to this and a lot of different ways Liverpool could go about it. It's both exciting and terrifying right now. It's like they could get it right. They could just knock it out of the park and we have like this full rebuild. And by 2025, Liverpool's in, like, we finished the 24-25 season, Liverpool walk into a title. We could also be in the midst of a 3-year rebuild and we don't know what the hell it's going to look like. So I have no idea what to expect other than I think that they're going to get Jude Bellingham still. And then it's kind of what do you do with the rest of that midfield? You've still got to sign at least one more midfielder. If you only sign one, then are you moving Trent into the midfield? There's all these other debates that become a thing at that point. So for me, no, you don't have to sign Jude Bellingham. You can absolutely go 5 different routes. But am I on board the Jude Bellingham train? Oh yeah, I'd love to see a sign.
Well, I think we're all on board. Jordan, do they need him?
I mean, I'm on board with David where you go. In all likelihood, if you spend 150 million on one player and then you don't follow it up by filling out the rest of the midfield, it's not going to solve all your problems. So, I do believe that we do need to go get Jude Bellingham for success, but for this reason alone. And it's a bit of a curveball and it has nothing to do with football really, but it has everything to do with the atmosphere of the fan base around the club, the ownership and the team. I think you've dug such a big hole for yourself with this Jude Bellingham thing that if you don't sign him, the reaction from the fan base is going to be so toxic and overboard about it that whoever you sign, whatever you do is always going to be painted with the contrast of the guy that you didn't sign, the person that you didn't get. And, I like to think of Liverpool's as being rational, reasonable people. And for the most part they are, but at the same time, it's, we've seen what happens when this fan base turns toxic, and that, given the way our ownership is operated in the transfer market, whether it's their fault or not, whether it's on Klopp and Pep that we didn't sign more people last summer, regardless, if we don't get Jude after this year-long thing that we've done saying we're going to get him, I don't know how you get that synergy between the fans, the manager, and the club all back together to where it was when we were full steam ahead and dominating world football. On a footballing side, you don't need Jude Bellingham. There's plenty of other midfielders you could go sign for less money. And like David said, allocate those resources to all the parts of the team that you need and all the midfielders that you need. Football doesn't begin and end with Jude Bellingham. It's not like he's gone out and won everything already and proven he's going to be that guy. There's plenty of other guys that can become that guy. Yeah. There's plenty of other stories in world football of people who weren't that guy at 19 that became that guy by 25. So I agree with David. However, the caveat I would say is if you don't sign Jude Bellingham, can you have success with the toxicity that will come out of that? I don't know.
Yeah, Andrew, I think people would be pretty annoyed. Liverpool fans would be pretty annoyed if you don't have Jude Bellingham. So is that reason enough, or do you still look at it kind of like David does, where it's like, there's other fish out there?
No feathering way. Is that a reason? At the end of the day, the people that sign the paychecks don't care what the fans think in this regard. As Jordan said, for footballer reasons, I love that sentence he said that, we can find someone else who can be that guy at 25, right? But here's the thing, though. I think if Liverpool want to move into the next tier of football clubs, you need to sign a generational talent. And I think, or at least that could help with that, moving up, so to speak. But so maybe Jude is that generational talent. I like it from on paper. It seems that someone who's 19, he solves your midfield for the next decade or 8 years, and then you sell him to, some Spanish club or whatever, and hopefully get a significant return.
Well, it probably wouldn't be some Spanish club. Let's be honest. He ain't going to Valencia.
Yeah, no, you never know.
I don't see him at Malaga. No.
He pulls that hamstring.
Almeria, you think that's where you're going? Yeah.
Think Bilbao could get him his Basque certificate?
He's not Basque at all. Get out of here. He's from Birmingham.
Yeah, Real Sociedad. Yeah, that's our Athletic Bilbao. But but the thing is, at the end of the day, it all comes down to money. I mean, am I on the train? Absolutely. But at the same time, it's like, David has said to us in a group chat, like, what if he, ruptures his ACL and, he becomes another Ox? And then to that point, I mean, I haven't seen the stats yet, but I got the feeling that he's been starting like all the time with Dortmund. He doesn't have injury problems. Is there a chance that he's becoming the next Michael Owen, where his career gets artificially shortened because of all the games that he played as a youth? That I don't know. That's speculation. But another thing is, like, look, it just comes down to money. If we have the money, great. But when I say that, I mean we have the money to afford him, plus address the other areas of the squad that needs to be done. Because if we don't, then I don't want him. I'd rather address the areas that need to be addressed in a more economical way. Listen, I want my cake and I want to eat it too. And if we can have that with you, then great. I'm all for it. If we can't have it, then abort mission. You know what I mean? And then go sign Mason Mount and the next Minamino. You know what I mean? And move on with our lives. But
or just do it all.
If we can, then great. If not, then life must find a way.
It's not a salary cap sport, so something tells me that there is room to be able to do a version of both. It's just a question of how many big hitters can you get all at once? Because when you think to the big summer, when they got the guy that they were waiting for after getting Virgil van Dijk, then they got Allison, and then you get Fabinho. Well, that was because they sold Coutinho to fund all of that. They obviously didn't do that this go around. But if they were sitting on money for Tchouaméni and were willing to go and spend it on Nunez last summer, and they had money left over from that, but just that the guy that they were waiting for, Jude Bellingham, wasn't available, something tells me they probably have that money somewhere. I don't know. It's under a mattress at Anfield somewhere, but somebody has it. So
yeah, that's concerning, and especially if you believe that rumor that we offered 100 million for Valverde to Real Madrid, like on deadline day. If that's true, it's like then we definitely have some money to spend. Whether I believe we'll spend it, that's another story that I'll cry about later.
I would say also that I think we should consider that the planning of this transfer has a lot to do with other things, like he's homegrown. He's going to be homegrown nation, homegrown club too. Oh no, he won't be homegrown club, but he'll be homegrown nation.
Yep.
And if you what is the word? Amortize the transfer fee over 9 or 8 years, it's like 20 million a year, and it's swallowable.
I think they're now cutting it back so that the max can be like 6 years, because Chelsea tried that with like Mudryk. They did it for like 15 years of his contract, and it's like
they're going to 5 years, but you can still technically pay it off over longer.
Yes.
It's just that for financial fair play, it'll be only 5 years you can extend it over. Yeah. But I'm not really thinking about the FFP part, but just more the money part. But that's all I have to say about Jude,
Yeah, I think we're all in a headspace where it's like we could see a world where it doesn't happen, where okay, they'll be fine. But it'd be a lot easier if they just did. So why don't they just do it? All right, next question. Question 2. Who's to blame for Liverpool's season? The players or the system? All right, next question popping up on screen. What's been the bigger problem? Is it the players or is the system all out of whack? Andrew, go.
Andrew, go. No pressure. I don't want to do a Conte speech and blame the players, but obviously the short answer. The short answer is both. I think. I mean, I've been frustrated with
diplomatic answer.
We made changes.
I'm doing points off. I got to take points off.
I know, but it's always nuance. It's always nuance, man. And it's like we've been frustrated where we always said change the system. Then they've done it. They've done a 4-2-4. They've done X, Y, and Z. But the reality is, it's a combination of injuries in the right or in the wrong places, and then players that have seemingly fallen off a cliff without explanation. Depression, physical stuff, who knows? Fabinho, I'm looking at you. And that is compounding into a place where it's, I think, prematurely shown our weakness, because as we know, we haven't really bought any midfielders. We bought forward players. We bought center back. We bought we bought left and right backs, but we haven't bought any midfielders, right? So, and the ones that we do have, they are made of a paper or something. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Doctors leaving the club. You know, I don't know. People getting married. I don't know. Things are happening, and all this is not conducive for building a winning environment. And yeah, that's it.
So life outside of football is inhibiting people from getting to work. That's what
listen, like I said, I'm trying to keep this PG. So like I'm trying to limit how much I speak. So because
kids get to work. That's what he's saying.
Andrew's blaming the players' personal lives. So I think he blames the players. I think he's blaming the players.
I also said the system
for having lives outside of
wives and children.
Yeah,
listen, it's a bit of arrogance for me. Like when you see things that are not working with certain players and they're not trying to find other solutions. He talks all the time in press conferences. That is clear. We have to find solutions. We will work with this. This is okay. Blah blah blah. And it's like, dude,
that's pretty good. That's a pretty good clop. That was a pretty good clop. I was banging into that clop. I was like, oh, here we go.
Just give him some.
Wait. I needed the proper lines, but yeah, because it's like he's translating from German. Alles klar is like all clear. But anyway, whatever. And it's just frustrating that like. I think it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback and say like, oh, they should do this thing, but it's like that doesn't work that way. This is not PlayStation where you can just go from a 4-3-3 to a 3-4-2-1.
Andrew, do you not know how sports talk works?
Yes, I know. It's just not the way it works, man. But that's why it's so frustrating.
We overanalyze everything. That's what you do.
Andrew's playing
hot takes.
Andrew's playing the ideologic, like nuanced, actually like trying to have a conversation talking head that doesn't exist in modern media. Like this is the ideal person that should exist, and that's who Andrew's being right now, and it doesn't exist. So he's like playing that character, right?
No, you're on your own, Andrew.
All right. But you guys go. I'll shut up because it's not.
David, what are you thinking? Hot take, hit me.
No, I mean his answer is right because you've got like the ownership conundrum and all this other shit going on, but I'm just gonna say it's a system, man. Like you got to play to the strengths that you have. You got to set the team up for success. So I'm just gonna keep it simple. Be the traditional sports talking head, and just be like, it's the system. You know, you just gotta go with less midfielders since you don't have any.
We're gonna play a 5-5.
That's simple. But in reality, though, like there's an argument to be made. Like we cannot keep going out the same way when you don't have the bodies to support it, and you don't have the intensity within that group of people to play that way. You just don't, and you're asking too many of them to go to the mattress again and again and again, and keep giving you the same performance that they did for 63 games or whatever it was last year. It's too much. At some point, you got to recognize their humanity, the fact that you're limited on what you can bring in to support them, and change something. I mean, and the problem is that I say that, but I also recognize that in this season, he actually changed it too much because he started bouncing around, doing this, doing that, playing a diamond in the midfield, playing for two. And I think all it really did was create more confusion and mistrust between the players. And it's almost like he can't win. This season, it feels like he can't, no matter what he does, he can't win because he tried to change it and it didn't work. And it just sowed more discord and created more uncertainty in the squad. And I almost wish that he hadn't. So it's just the fact that we play a system that these players can't sustain right now. I don't think they can do it in one-offs. They can go out and smash Manchester United 7-0. But can they walk out the next week and beat Bournemouth? No. And
isn't that sentence just so weird to say? They beat United 7-0 and then went to Bournemouth and lost. Nope. What?
Same group of players. Right. Nope. So it's I think it's just that this group can't do it steadily.
Yes.
And we don't have the depth that we need to be able to move guys in and out. The quality and depth that you need. And it's just this system isn't made for quite frankly, guys over the age of 27. And we've got too many of them in the group. That's why I'm like, yeah, sign Jude. He's 19. He's got like 5 years before this does his head in.
Right. The refreshing of the squad is definitely necessary.
It is in a lot of ways. I think it is the system, but I think it's also part of doing business if you want to play this way. And I don't think there's anybody that watched last season or the title-winning season that says they don't want to play this way. Of course you do, because when it's on, it's electric. But when it's shit, it's shit.
It's so bad.
Pretty bad. Well, we do actually have a coach in the room. I was championship game making coach.
Losing. Yeah,
I was going to say he made it to the final.
Twice! That's how I felt. Twice! Yes. Can I get on my coaching soapbox and like be like, from my experience of being on the touchline and what I know from tactics, blah, 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 blah. No, but I did read this interesting piece like going into this season for myself, and it was about tactics exist in the dichotomy of you're either making a tactic and going, this is what we do your best to stop it, we don't care, or you're the type of manager that goes, we are going to see what the other team does, react to it, stop it, and then play however we can within that guideline. And, you know, I blame the system just because systems have lifespans. They just do. Because the more successful your system becomes, the more people start to obsess how to stop it. And, you know, there was a time frame there where every team we went up against, we beat. We won 36 games, drew 2 over the span of a year, over 38 league games. And every single match was just a team trying to figure something out. And then all other 18 teams would put the tape on and go, what worked, what didn't work. And this was a process over 3 to 4 years of teams all over world football doing it. Bayern Munich tried their own version. We'll park the bus, 0-0 it. Holy crap, 3-1 at home. Didn't work. You know, like teams tried. Nothing worked. And then I think towards the end of last season, people started to figure stuff out. And we were winning games, but if you remember, they weren't like, you know, we weren't blowing teams away. We weren't going out and scoring goals early. They were struggles, and we had to work for them. And like David said, when you're in a place where the squad's set up and everything in front of you and it's bright and peachy, you can run through walls to try to get to that end goal. Mm-hmm. And the boys did that, I think, despite the system, you know. And for me, like, you know, a lot of people like to say, well, Klopp is this system. And for me, like, that totally is a revisionist history of who Klopp was when he got here and how we arrived upon this system. Has he been a one-trick pony with us so far? Yeah, the 4-3-3 is the thing that has given us the greatest 5 years of our supporter lives that we'll probably ever see. Hopefully it does get topped one day, but it's hard to imagine it ever could be. I mean, that run is, I mean, honestly, when I went back and looked and saw that we had won 36 out of 38 and drawn 2, and it was City, and like, I can't remember the other team. I was like, what? Before that Watford loss, what? We got 110 points out of 114. And so when the system reaches its maturation, you have to adapt. We built this system with creative fullbacks, and it totally blew everyone's mind away. They were like, how can you have your fullbacks be creative? They're supposed to be Gary Neville. They can't be creative. They're supposed to be bland and boring. No one wants to be a left back or a right back, and we just totally changed world football. And yes, it took the world a very long time to come to grips with it. The 4-4-2, when it came out, had people going, oh my goodness, you mean that you don't just have to play with attackers and defenders? You can have a midfield? That's crazy. And then people figured out how to beat it. And so I think our system was so specialized and so perfectly fit like a glove to what we had built. And like David said, we did try to change it this year, but our feet were underneath us when we tried to change it. Yeah. The midfield was gone before the season even started. So we didn't have the midfield that we wanted to build with. And then we didn't have the right players to build this new system. And then when we tried to do the new system, it looked as if the new system was the problem, but it was we didn't have the players for that new system. Remember, wanted Chouameni for a reason. Mm-hmm. Wanted some other players. Wanted Jude Bellingham last summer for a reason. Didn't get it. Persisted. And then like David said, we tried to go back to what we were doing, knowing full and well why we were changing. Because there's a reason why we were changing. There had to have been, unless we're going to throw out the idea that Pep Linders and Jurgen Klopp don't know what they're doing, which
They wrote a book. They gave it away.
Right. I don't know if we can argue that they don't know what they're doing. That would suggest that for 5 years in football, the rest of the football world was full of a bunch of idiots
Probably
being beaten by guys that don't know what they're doing. So they tried to change.
Yeah.
They didn't have the players, and they got into this mind frame where they were like, well, maybe we need to go to the old system. That'll fix it. And because everything was in disarray, it's falling apart. They need to commit to changing the system as they were, but they need to do it when we have the right players to do it.
Yeah.
And for me, that 4-3-3, put it in the Hall of Fame, hang it up, remember it forever and always. But I don't know if we can ever get back to what it was when it was surprising people and they didn't know how to deal with it, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean,
Hey,
go for it.
no, I was just going to say he's right. Systems have life. Everybody's got the tape. Everybody's studied what teams that have started to beat us have done. And
look.
When he came here, he played 4-2-3-1, and that was
Exactly.
the system, right?
Exactly.
But eventually that had to evolve, and he changed it with the personnel. As soon as Coutinho was gone, let's try this. And we need to see that same sort of willingness to adapt and whatever it is. I don't know what the next chapter looks like. I really don't.
This is where I think that Jurgen's stubbornness gets in the way, because what I think he knows there's a formation we can play with this group of players, but I think he knows the shelf life for that formation is just to get us to the end of the season. And for him, that feels like an unworthy endeavor, because it's just a waste of time that could be spent trying to get into the new system or trying to get back to the old system, which we might still play after the end of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we went to a 5-3-2, so to speak, and it got us to fourth place, we'd never play a 5-3-2 again. And for Jurgen, he's just going to be like, well, that's 6 months on the training ground that I wasted that I'll never get back just to try to finish fourth, when he feels like with his confidence, with his stubbornness, sometimes his arrogance, I can persist with this. I can figure it out, and I'll still finish fourth, and I'll have that 6 month period of work in with me, so that when I go to next season, I don't have to do that 6 months.
We could also call that vision, though, to say that I'm not just thinking about the next 6 months. I'm thinking about the 6 months after that, and the year after that, and 2 years, and the 3 years after that.
But Darius, that doesn't sit well with my anxiety. We have to get Darius
to be so long-term thinking. Right.
And hey,
Oh,
listen,
my God.
fans can't think past next weekend. That's the unfortunate reality. And you know what? Once again,
they're saying stuff on the memes, on the interwebs. They're calling us names because Darwin Nunez missed a chance.
Let me get on my soapbox real quick. Like, this is the problem with youth soccer parents in America. They can't see past this season. My U10 didn't win a trophy this year. Yeah, guess what? When he's U16 playing in a state cup final and he remembers how bad it felt when he lost U10 and he wins the state final, it's actually going to be part of a much bigger and better story. And maybe you should see the long-term vision of this, right? But right now, I'm a talking head on the internet on a sports show, and I don't have vision. I can't see past next weekend. So you know what? Change the system.
All right, so I'm going to go with, all right, I'll wrap it up on this. My point with it is that when it comes to system versus players, right? Because since I grew up outside of the footy with other sports, I kind of do the cross-sport analysis thing. I look at it like when you have a train track set up and you're standing on the tracks, you know that train's coming. That doesn't mean you're going to stop it. It does not mean you're going to stop it. When an immovable object meets the perfect force, whatever the quote is. Point is, when you know that something is coming, if it is executed well and if it is run well, it doesn't matter if you know that, oh, we're going up against Duke. They run 2-3 zone. They're going to slap the floor. Yeah, but they're great at it. Okay, we're going up against Ohio State. They run the power O offense, and they run the ball well. Well, yeah, but you can't stop it. Well, they've got the team that they're going to throw the ball over the field. Yeah, but you can't stop it. So when it's executed well and you have the right players in place, it doesn't matter if the other team knows every play you're going to call. They can't stop it. So that's what it was for Liverpool for the last few years, where everyone knew what they were going to do. It's going to go wide to Trent. He's going to whip it in, and then ball's going to drop to Firmino. He's going to find Salah. He's going to bury it in the back of the net. They did that on repeat for all of those 38 games that we were just mentioning. Everyone knew what was going to happen, and Liverpool executed well. But they're now to a point where they don't have the guys who can do it over and over again consistently. So I just think that changing the recipe before you change out the ingredients, I think that's a little bit of a mistake. I think you need to check and make sure that those ingredients you're working with haven't hit the expiration date. And I honestly think we are to that point where might be working with some sour veggies. So go get some fresh ones.
Yeah, but if you ever made bread, it matters when you add the salt, bro.
It does. It all matters. It all matters.
So I guess I just throw out there that I think Tiago's aspired to really just make a fiery hot take to piss off everyone.
Well,
I think Tiago should go.
So what is Naby Keita? Is he hot milk?
My soul.
Naby Keita,
Definition of a luxury player.
Naby Keita is when you go to the supermarket and you buy the deli meat, but you didn't check and didn't realize that someone had poked a hole in it and it's actually already rotten before you've even gotten to eating it. That's what Naby Keita is.
The spores were already in there. That's gonna be blue tomorrow, bro.
Right? Right. That's when you open the Nutella and it's already.
That's why you should give it back to the grocery store for a week before you.
Hey, Red Bull Leipzig, there's mold inside this player. You need to take it back. We want a refund.
All right. Before we start calling out people for having kids and stuff, let's move on to the next question.
Right?
Last question. What would Liverpool need to do next season to make you happy?
So the final question, just a general health check, guys. Like, what does Liverpool need to do next season to make you happy? Andrew, what can Liverpool do?
Don't ask me first, man. Ask somebody else first.
Okay, Jordan.
I have to process that question.
Jordan, what can Liverpool do next season to make you happy?
So, I think this question has to be looked at from the scope of this season on how unhappy it has made me and why I've had that unhappiness.
Fair.
And I thought about this a lot, really, because, and again, I don't want to make this about me and like my coaching, but one of the things that I think I do really well as a coach is at the beginning of the season, I set proper expectations, right? And like, for instance, like this year I had a B team. So I said, hey, we're a new team or a B team. We can't expect to win every game. It might be tough at first, but we'll grow. And by the end of the season, let's see where we're at. And, thusly we exceeded expectations and everyone's really, really happy. If I'd gone in and been like, I think we can be a really good team and win these games and blah, 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 then everyone's unhappy, right? And so at the start of the season, it was portrayed as we go again.
Yeah.
We missed out by 2 goals, which is insane to think about, really. 2 goals in a couple minutes. So we're going to go again, and it's going to be the same. Jurgen Klopp says the whole thing, book the hotel in Istanbul, right? And all the messaging through the summer is kind of just like, we're going to reset, recharge, go again, go again. And now we're at the point where Jurgen's kind of like, no, we always knew this was going to be a rebuild. And that's where my discontent and unhappiness comes from, where it's like, you set these expectations for me, man. If you told me at the beginning, this is going to be a rebuild season, I'm a little less unhappy and upset about this. And I'm looking at it from a different like mindset and point of view. So I think the first thing Liverpool needs to do to make me happy is to be honest with me. If Jurgen Klopp gets into that room and he looks around at the players we sign, we don't sign, and he goes, we're going for 4th, and maybe if we get top 4 this season, a push into the Champions League and maybe a cup, and he comes out and says that, and then we do that, I won't be unhappy. I'll be like, yeah, that's what he thought. That's what he expected. For me, next year, for happiness, I need a shiny thing. I don't care if it's the FA Cup. I don't even really care if it's the League Cup. Champions League would be nice. We'd take a Champions League and a Premier League in a heartbeat, but I need a shiny thing just because I've really enjoyed the celebrations of those shiny things that we had. They're just, it's just a fun time. Finals are I'm like, we hadn't had a final in so long. And for me personally, I've never been of the age to like go to the pub and like fully enjoy a final day. Like the last one we had was like the 2012 League Cup or some nonsense, right? And I really like the day so I'd like to go to a final. And then, if we could remind Arsenal fans that you're still on the journey, actually, like, listen, lads, I'm happy that you guys are challenging. I'm happy that you're back.
Oh, but if they win, we can't tell them nothing.
I'm glad you might beat City to the league title. Right? I'm glad you might beat City to the league title. I prefer you guys to beat City to the league title, but there is only one team right now that actually probably is really competitive with them when they're on their form. And it still is us. That would make me happy. But if the expectations are set properly and we meet or exceed those, I'll always be happy. We finished 4th, beat Middlesbrough last day, and that was the expectations. And I was like, that's like one of the best 10 seasons in my life. And we didn't win a thing. I can be happy with not a shiny thing and the expectations being met. Oh. So for me to be happy, I just need Liverpool to be honest with me. This is where we are. This is who we are right now. It might take a little bit more developing before we get back to where we are. Rather than, nope, we're going again. We're going for the quad. Oh, it's January and it's all over. You know, that's what I need for happiness.
Oh, Jordan, that's adorable. You're like, hey, just don't lie to me. Just
Yeah.
tell me the truth.
Look,
Say the truth.
if you want to sleep with other men, just let me know and maybe I'll deal with it better. You know?
David.
Sorry, PG-13. I forgot.
Jesus.
You didn't cuss.
That's true. That's true.
For me, the main thing I need is just to settle all this off-field bullshit. I don't want to spend so much time next season talking about ownership groups and investment structures and all this business bullshit. I don't, and then just spend some money in the transfer market so that we can shut the fuck up about transfers for 5 minutes. And then, hire a team doctor, get the recruitment team sorted, have a backroom staff that we're okay with so that we can all just go, okay, can I just think about the footy again? Like, I don't want to think about all this other bullshit. Pardon me. Like, I just want to think about the footy.
Well, now you want to excuse yourself after the 20 of them in.
Whatever.
If we bet to Vegas, who would have cursed first? Everyone would have said me.
No, it still was you.
It was
you. No. But when we really started, no. I haven't said nothing. I've been rated G.
But no, I guess
because you've been giving yourself a gag order. You haven't said anything. Yeah. As quiet as you ever been.
Okay, 1, settle all that off-field crap. 2, play some compelling football, because I don't know how many games I've watched this year, and you too. I know you all have watched it and gone, God, this is awful.
Yeah. My favorite thing of this year is that my teams have played a lot during Liverpool, and then I've just been able to text you guys and be like, so is it worth watching? And like, they're all like, no, no,
don't even watch it.
No. And like, I'll go back and watch a loss if there's like worthwhile substance to it, and I'll get through it and be like, well, this is
we
bad.
played well, but
yeah.
Yeah. But every single time I get in the car, look at the final score, and then I just text you guys. So how bad was it? Don't watch it. Not worth it. Don't even watch the highlights. You've
seen this game before.
I still don't know how we lost to Nottingham Forest. I don't know how the goal went in. I don't know how Verge missed his chances. I don't know how Fabio Carvalho missed his chance. I don't know what they look like because you guys told me not to watch it.
It's for your mental health. We did you a favor.
Right. But those 2 things, and then, challenge for something. Like, be in the top 4 mix, maybe make a cup run. I don't care if you go out in the Europa League at the group stage. I'll just be real. Like, you can just crash out of that shit immediately. That's fine. But, like, make a run in an FA Cup final. Make a run in a League Cup final. I don't know. Something. Give me the taste of a shiny thing at least. Be in the mix for 4th, play some compelling football, and let's stop talking about the fucking ownership. Because I'm bored of it. That's all I want from next season.
Andrew, what does happiness look like for you as a Liverpool fan?
You know me, I'm always about the math. So I just hope homies make right decisions. What I would like is to go into Christmas and then reflect on the previous months and say, you know what? We made some right decisions here. We did this. We did that. We signed this dude. He looked cute. We signed a doctor. Oh, we got more money.
We signed a doctor. Why is that a thing?
I don't know.
hate that that's a thing.
It is a thing, though. It is.
Would lean in the white lab coat and the stethoscope.
Yeah.
See him at the table signing.
But more importantly, I'm not reading pieces by Melissa Betty about nonsense going on in the back room. We signed a sporting director. All the people that we sign in the transfer market, they get a full preseason. None of this deadline day crap. I want whoever we sign, whether Jude, Mason, my uncle, I want them like week 1. They need to have them cleats on. They need to be leaning, at the new Melwood, whatever it's called, the training center, whatever.
Kirby.
What'd I say? What did you say?
I don't know. It's good in Kirby. Which, by the way, you're not supposed to say the K. By the way, it's Kirby.
It's not Kirby.
It's
yeah.
Don't put it in there.
Words. It's like actors' games. Like you read it, but you never pronounce it. Anyway.
I also thoroughly do not want your uncle. Just wanted to get that up.
Yeah. No, me neither. I don't think he's ever played footy ever.
If we do sign your uncle, he can come in after the season, as far as I'm concerned. I don't need him week 1.
On a youth scholarship.
I need him week 52.
Yeah,
You
but-
have him out there with Jay Spearing, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Out there with the
I
youth.
Just for the lads, just for the
Yeah,
vibes.
yeah.
But yeah, and like I said, no, we get an investment group, or we get owned by someone else. The stadium is finished or finishing X, Y, and Z. That would be nice. And then as far as the line thing, what Jordan was talking about, I like that point. That was very cute. It was like an alternate reality where the universe works in the way it should. I just don't believe we'll have any expectations. We won't get that kind of honesty. I think there'll be some narrative in the media and amongst fandom, but like what I mean is like 100% objective reality in terms of expectations. I don't think we'll get that, but I understand your point, and I like that. I would love that. I would love.
I just think
whatever they are.
I just think it doesn't get as dark for me this season
Yeah.
if I'm not in my head first
The
week
expectation.
thinking that we're gonna win the title again and that
Yeah.
we're gonna win the Champions League. Like you draw week 1 Fulham and you're devastated because you think you're in a title race. And then from that,
1,000% right, yeah.
and from
I
that
remember
moment
being
forward, and then from that moment forward, it's just like it's quickly deteriorating your emotions because I mean, how many points did we drop in the first 10 games and the title's over like that? And your season expectations are done and you're already shifting to a new and that's what made me the most unhappy. And when I thought about it, I was like, wait a second. If someone had told me that we were going to struggle this year, I would have been like, oh, well, this is this is what happens. At least we beat United 7-0.
Expectations, I mean, I'll leave this question and not to get into the topic, but I wonder if those expectations like affect decision making in terms of like, so now we have to change the system and do this, that, and that. Whereas if expectations were chill, everything would be maybe.
Well, it does have an impact on like our last question, whether you're looking at the players or the system. You're still saying, well, we can still get things done as is if you go in with those high expectations versus if you're like, nah, we got to change something, whether it's the players or the system. You make that change if you don't have those high expectations. Just like we're going to struggle anyway, so let's get the new thing.
Let's figure this out.
Yeah,
right. And that's the big point for me was that obviously those expectations were set because they thought they were going to sign Chouameni, Bellingham, and do all that
again,
right? And then I mean, geez, man, what a season!
Well, I think I'll leave it on this because like I'm a very simple person. I'm a very simple man. Like I just need good vibes, right? Like I don't need it to be a trophy hunt. I don't need it to be a top something race. Like just don't waste my time, Liverpool. That's all I ask. Like don't have me waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning to sit and watch a awful match of football and then lose. Just be okay. Just be good. That's all I need. Is just them to not waste my time. That's all I ask
Right.
for.
That's so like I've been telling a lot of people at the pub that where I'm like, I just need you to remember, like, I know everyone thinks this is the worst it's ever been, but you used to wake up in 2012 to watch Brendan Rodgers Liverpool. And when they just won a game against a big team, you just lived off of that for 2 months. So like it can get worse and you're able to like live off of the small victories if you really want to. I'll live off Man United till the end of the season. I'm still living off of it.
We once,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We once spent a Saturday afternoon celebrating Joe Cole tap-in to tie Blackburn.
Right.
So I mean, come on, like it could be a lot worse.
Like
and
that's the thing.
The Hodges' job for another week.
Yeah, especially for anyone who's been on board for Liverpool longer than 10, 15 years. Like you've seen the dark days. You know what it actually looks like when the team is really, really bad. This year, it's like, all right, it's a disappointing season, but it's like, come on. Like
it's dismal at times.
It's dismal, but it's just like we're comparing it to what we just saw. Like trying to win everything.
That's why
that's the
you wouldn't feel so low if you hadn't just felt so high.
Right.
No. And about the decisions thing that I mentioned earlier, I think this one sentence that I forgot to mention is that I just hope we make the right decisions that are worthy of the status as Jurgen Klopp. Because I'm tired. What did David said the other day? He said something like putting so much faith in a player and you're torpedoing a season or something like that. In other words, I want us to make decisions correctly so that we're utilizing the time we have with Klopp because he's so precious and we have this much time left with him. I don't have time to be wasting time. The rent is too dang high. We can't pay the rent. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to like, because once Klopp is gone, then it will be the dark ages.
Well, it'll be interesting. I definitely
it'll be interesting.
That'll be
That's
interesting.
its own podcast right there.
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
No, for sure. For
That's
sure.
probably the next episode.
Yeah, that's the next episode. Life
Yeah, right.
after Klopp.
So Klopp is
We do
left.
that in 5 years.
Another era has ended, so we are now doing another
I'll be gray out
podcast.
to here.
That'll be the darkest timeline.
Yeah, that's
So,
when you
guys-
have kids. That's when you get kids, folks.
This is
you
all
don't
I
get
have to
watch
say,
sport.
and then you can end it when we sign the club doctor, okay? And he does the leaning photo, and he has the stethoscope. They need to do a video where he walks into the cafeteria, and he picks up an apple, and he looks at it, and he boots it out of the room, and he goes, "Doctor's here to stay," and then the video ends.
I really want to stick a stethoscope up to the heart of the liver and then they play "You'll Never Walk Alone." It'd be super cheesy. That'd be like the
Oh,
best.
that's cringe. I like that.
You know,
That's
Call
cringy.
us,
and it's his
FSG,
marketing
call us.
cheese all the way, baby.
Call us FSG. We're
The
very low
doc
budget.
is
Yeah, we're here
in.
for you.
Na, na,
This
na,
means
na,
more
the
to
doc
us.
is in.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I'm gonna need like a full song for the doctor when he signed. Like,
Right.
we gotta have it.
Doctor, give me the news. I gotta...
Oh, it's great to have you guys back on to do another Top Talking.
In June.
Look at this. We're smiling. We feel better. We were talking about Liverpool. We're not depressed right now.
We should have
That's the
been doing
win.
this all
That's it.
season.
Hey, this is our 7-0 right here. I love it.
Yeah.
All right,
good
guys. It's
news,
been a
man.
pleasure. I'm Darius.
I'm Andrew.
I'm David.
Jordan,
We got it on time. Look at that. Got the
Look at
rotation
that.
in.
it only took us 3 years of a break to finally do it right.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
All right, man. Take